Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 26th, and today we're going to be taking a look at this system coming through the region here, thunderstorm potential. We'll also take a look at our extended. As always, we'll try to resolve some of this model discrepancy for the weather coming up later this week on into next weekend. We have some pretty big disagreement between the European and the GFS, so we'll take a look at that in some detail. There's been some sunbreaks around western Washington and the Willamette Valley this morning, but that's going to quickly come to an end for most areas, especially Salem North. As we start to bring this line of showers here, you can see on the Doppler radar approaching the metro areas. And yeah, we're going to be off and on showers today, thunderstorm potential, small hail. Then we're going to deal with a convergent zone north of Seattle, so we'll take a look at that as well. There's also a general thunderstorm threat for eastern Oregon, portions at least, Idaho and western Montana. And you can see the thunderstorm threat outlined here for western Washington, northern Willamette Valley of Oregon. That would extend, of course, into southwest BC. But now checking out the infrared satellite here, you can see the showers that are moving through the area, this cold air moving in behind this system. Cold air aloft, cumuliform clouds going to keep these showers going off and on. Then we have systems behind that as well that are going to be coming through on and through Thursday and Friday morning. So we'll take a look at that in some detail as well. Now, looking to the rest of the country, there's some chilly air that's settled around me, like the Chicago area, Indiana, Ohio. There's fire danger across the plains still. There's going to be a severe weather threat coming up later this week, too. I may be out there chasing it, so I'll try to live stream some of that if it looks good. Still trying to figure out my live stream and how to make it work correctly. But there's some flooding concerns going on for Minnesota, North Dakota, and pretty quiet generally, though, around the rest of the country. Now, looking yesterday for SeaTac, you can see it was pretty chilly. We got up to 57. Our average is 61, so we were below average. You can see it marked out here on the graph. And the record high for yesterday was 77 in 1992, so going way back there. Now, if we check things out, you can see the general thunderstorm risk for the Pacific Northwest there and for portions of, like I said, Montana, Idaho, and Oregon. There is some severe weather threat for the East Coast today, so heads up if you're traveling out there through the southeast. Now, looking on into day 4, this is for Friday. I may be out there chasing this, but there's still some model discrepancy, which is normal at this point. And there's a nice cyclone developing. Should be some good moisture in play. So I may be out chasing that one-day chase coming up before I get more active on into May. But, of course, I'll always put the Pacific Northwest first, and I'll do briefings on the road if I have to. But this is the avalanche center. You can see right now we have no elevated avalanche threat. Even though we've been getting some mountain snowfall, it's not been too much. And it's this time of year where the avalanche threat starts to drop rapidly. So heads up there. I always like visiting this website when I'm going backcountry. But it looks like it's pretty good now. I just wanted to give some perspective on this. We start to drop off in the avalanche season versus what we get normally in the winter. And that also with landslide potential, once you get right of this line means you've gotten a certain amount of precipitation during a certain amount of time period. And you can see we're all nice and safe. So landslide risk is very low currently. Now looking at the drought monitor here, I know there's some controversy about this tool sometimes, but the only thing I want to remind people of is drought is not mean some kind of dire situation normally. Drought is a natural process of the climate. So that's all I really wanted to say about that. Now checking out here, this is the HRRR for today. You can see the showers increasing. This is late morning, 11, 12, 1, 2 p.m. You can see some of these showers moving through with thunderstorm potential across the region here. Of course, mainly Salem, or maybe just south of Salem and north, really. And you can see these really get wrung out by the Cascade Mountains here, and they don't really penetrate into eastern Washington much. Maybe the northeast portion there in the higher terrain. But then you can see kind of a convergent zone signature forming up later on in through tonight, but doesn't look overly strong or anything at this point. Now, looking at the Cape, this gives a nice idea of how the atmosphere is going to destabilize later through the afternoon here as we get this convective available potential energy around the region here. And you can see why the SPC highlighted this area for thunderstorm potential through this afternoon as well. Here's the NAM3KM kind of showing this line of showers moving through. Doesn't seem to be handling it quite as well maybe as the most recent HRRR, but it does show the shower activity with lightning potential, western Washington, western Oregon. And going through this afternoon, we should taper off this evening, and then the convergence zone will be ongoing, but again, should not be overly strong at this point. And then you can see the next system kind of bearing down here on early Thursday morning. You'll see some precip override the region here through the afternoon, and then general showery conditions behind that. We'll have to see how much of a thunderstorm threat this develops on through the day Thursday though we'll look at that again tomorrow. Now here's the snowfall. Total snowfall. We're not getting tons of snowfall for the Cascades, just a little bit, and we'll take all we can get, of course. BC mountains are getting good snowfall amounts. Maybe that'll help tamper the fires down. They've been getting some decent snowfall the last month or so, maybe the last 2 months now across that region. So we'll take what we can get. And that system Thursday brings a nice little swath of snowfall for portions of eastern Oregon as well, and also builds up the snowpack through the Rockies there of Idaho and Montana. Now, looking at the European here, you'll see that convergent zone activity tonight and the shower activity today. Going into tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll probably be dealing with some residual showers before that next system moves through here on Thursday. It looks like it might be targeting Oregon a little bit more. We'll have to see how the models trend with that, but it does bring precipitation and some snowfall up into western Washington, the mountains area, the Cascades anyway. So then we go on into the future a little bit more, and you can see another system on the heels of that for Friday night. So no rest for the weary here in the Pacific Northwest. Our weather will remain active through the period, according to the European at least. We'll take a look at the GFS coming up here. Now, this is going through the day today. The lightning threat starts to increase late morning on in through the early afternoon across the region. A decent signal through western Washington, northern Willamette Valley, and through British Columbia, too, for a lightning threat. So taking a look here, this is the Pacific Ocean wide view. Here is Japan over here. Here's Alaska. Here's Washington, Oregon, California. And you can see this lobe of cold air that's impacting us currently, giving us our thunderstorm threat today. And then the next system on Thursday swings through here, mainly through Oregon, it looks like, but it's going to hit Washington as well. It's going to keep us chilly anyway aloft. And then you can see another system kind of moving through here, and then we maybe get a little bit of a break before another lobe of cold air. Kind of a glancing blow here for Washington, but does dive down in Northern California and Oregon. And then maybe a nice day or two before we get some more cold air aloft on in through early May. So the European is pretty bullish on keeping troughing around, but we can squeeze a nice day out in between sometimes in these patterns. Now looking at the European here, this is yesterday afternoon's run. And you can see the troughing continue as we go on in through Thursday. Brings another system on in through Saturday across the region here, hangs out for a bit and reinforces this trough as we go on into early next week. And then you can see into mid and later next week as well, the troughing does continue. So we'll continue to watch this, but the European is definitely on the chillier side. Now let's check out what the GFS says. Good agreement in the short term as always. Moving through Friday, that system moves through Saturday. Pretty good agreement there. And then actually, you know, they're in pretty good agreement now through this weekend coming up. And then that system moves through on early Monday. But then the GFS brings some ridging, what the European doesn't show there. So maybe a nice day or two out of that before this next trough gets going. Or if this trough just hangs up a bit further in the Gulf of Alaska, it could give us, you know, 2 or 3 nice days in a row. But it doesn't look like it as the GFS brings a nasty trough down over the area. This would be some really cold air aloft going on into early May across the region. And really hangs us out over us, but we're getting up into fantasy land here at this point. But yeah, this La Nina Spring just doesn't want to yield much in the way of warm weather for the region, which is a good thing, though, for coming up here during the summer. The fire seasons, as you guys know, can be quite harsh around here, and it can bring smoke, and it can ruin a really nice stretch of weather by making everything smoky. So it is nice to have calm period now, and especially building up the snowpack and bringing some precipitation to the area will help with that summer fire danger. Here's the European going to the extended. As I showed you guys, we're supposed to be up in towards the low 60s, and you can see how it keeps us well below average on in through early May here. Quite chilly. So there will be thunderstorm threat through this period as well, off and on, and I'm hoping that we can get a couple nice days in between there. And this will bring some mountain snows too as well. So this will be good for summer, especially if we warm up during the hottest portions of the summer. But looking at the GFS, it has us closer to normal. And you can see in the extended, it kind of looks like it's just defaulting to near normal temperatures or just slightly below here in the extended. But for the most part, on in through early next week, the GFS and the European are actually in pretty good agreement on keeping temperatures below normal and troughing and weak systems moving through the area. This is just kind of highlighting. If you look at this generally, anytime during the winter, you can see some pretty hefty gusts mixed in here for Seattle. It's just kind of highlighting the fact that we are moving out of windstorm season here for the Pacific Northwest. It's not unheard of that we could get one at this time of year, but it is rapidly declining climate wise. So this is just kind of us moving out of spring spring windstorm condition and moving into the period where our windstorms just kind of fall off a cliff. So yeah, enjoy today if you like thunderstorms, because there may be a few around. Watch out for those dark bases. If thunder roars, go indoors, unless you're a storm chaser, of course. And yeah, so then we're going to be dealing with continued systems on in through early next week. So we'll take a look at each one of those and see if there's any thunderstorm potential with them, or what kind of weather we can expect around the region. And make sure to click like and subscribe, help out the channel. I'm trying to put my merchandise and link that up with YouTube. As soon as I get, I think it is 10,000 subscribers, I'll be able to put my merchandise on the YouTube channel, and that should help, spread the word and maybe have people chime in if you have any ideas on any kind of hats or shirts, or what kind of well, I'll put my logo on it, but what kind of ideas do you have? I have lenticular cloud, convergent zone, windstorm gear. So hopefully I can get that matched up with a YouTube channel here coming up in the next several months as we hit 10,000 subscribers. So click like and subscribe, help the channel out, you guys, help support me, and it's much appreciated. I will talk to you guys later.